management of change. Students, we will study about the management of change, the impact of change. Change includes change to work process, equipment, practices in construction work. That is temporary works may also. So the change may be in process, the change may be in equipment, practice, and construction work. We need to manage this change because the change have more hazards, more risk. So we need to control that hazards and risk to protect our workers from that hazards or risk. So how we will manage that change? Temporary works include short-term buildings projects, building maintenance, renovation of work in a buildings, demolition of buildings, excavation work. So these are the short-term works in which we can manage the change. So how we will mitigate the impact of change, or how we will control the impact of change. Key management principle for controlling the change in a workplace. First of all, we need proper risk assessment of the work itself and its impacts on the workplace. We need to prepare risk assessment for the new or for the new process or for the new equipments or for the new place. So the first thing that we need to prepare a quality risk assessment, then communication and cooperation between all the affected parties. We need proper communication between the parties and proper cooperation between the parties, because in this way they will communicate with each other and they will communicate about the hazards, about the risk. So in this way they can control and they can work in a safe manner. Then we need competent worker and manager for this change work. If our workers and managers are competent, so we can easily manage the change. Then we need to segregate that area where the new work is in progress, where the change work in progress. We need to segregate. We need to separate that area. We need to put fencing. We need to haul barricade or something else, but we need to separate that area. And we need emergency procedures and arrangements for the change work, for the change place. And we also need to provide welfare provisions, welfare facilities. We need for the new workers proper toilet, dining halls, transportations, extra accommodation, because the work we already planned, for that we have already resources, but for this new or for this change work, we need extra resources, extra things, extra welfare facilities. So in this way, we can manage the new work or the change in our projects in our company. Then the other topic, safe system of work. Safe system of work is a formal recorded documents in which we systematically examine the work. And due to safe system of work, we identify the hazards and we will prepare safe methods and control that hazards and that activities. So we will discuss the safe working methods. To be effective, the safe system of work, SSW, safe system of work, must bring together people, equipment, material, environments. People. Who is the safe system of work for those people? We need to, for which we are preparing this safe system of work, we need to identify those people. What level of competence or technical ability should they have? The people who are working, we need to understand, we need to check their technical ability and their competency for the work. If the people or the workers are competent, then the other step for the safe system of work, we need to check the equipment. What equipment will be used by this people or by these workers, what safety equipment will be required for this equipment. We need to check the equipment. For example, equipments like welding machine, like other equipments, grinders, etc. We need to check that equipment that is suitable for the work, or the safety devices are fixed on that equipment, that safety devices in workable conditions. So the next material which we are used during the work, we need to check that material is safe, that environment where the work will take place, space, light, temperatures. We check environment. The environment should be suitable for the work. So in this way, we can prepare the safe working method. First, we need competent worker, then the equipment that should be suitable for the work, the material which we are used, that should be in a safe conditions and environment should be in a safe conditions. So in this way, we can prepare or we can develop a safe working method. Please mute your mic, okay? Okay, Kwame.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So please next time be in time. Okay, with the safe system of work, we need risk assessment because this risk assessment is the part of safe system of work. And risk assessment, we need to identify the hazards and control that hazard. Our risk assessment should be a competent risk assessment. Okay, Mr. Farooq Shah.
Risk assessment control.
Farooq Shah, please. Farooq. The risk assessment, please, everybody should off their mics because the other students will disturb. So in the risk assessment, we need to identify the hazards, and that hazards we need to control. And safe system of work, we need proper and quality risk assessment. If our risk assessment is not proper and quality accurate, so we cannot control the hazards. Okay? Documented should show the standard is care. We need proper documentation for the safe system of work. Because documentation is very important. Because if we will prepare the documented work, so we can use in the future the documents. But if we will not document our safe system of work in the future, we cannot use that. So the documentation is very important. Developed by a competent person with assistance from worker. When the safe system of work, we are preparing the person who is preparing this safe system of work, he should be experienced and he should be competent, knowledgeable, and he should take assistance or help from the workers. Legally required in many circumstances, employer responsibility to prepare them, workers responsibility to follow them. So in some condition, in some circumstances, this safe system of work is very important. We need to prepare this safe system of work because in oil and gas, power plant, and other industries, we need to prepare this safe system of work to protect our workers from the hazards. Then developing a safe system of work, this is a steps in which we can prepare the safe system of work. The word SREDIM, 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 just and from which we can take a help. So the S, select the task. We need to select the task for which we are preparing the safe system of work. Then R, record steps or stages of the task. Then evaluate risk associated with each step. The other D, develop safe working methods and implement safe working method, and M, monitor that safe working method that should be effective. First, what we need to select a task. Any task you can select. In that task, you can bring in steps, in small steps or stages. After that, in each steps, you will identify two hazards and evaluate risk from that hazard. Then When you identify the hazards and evaluate risk, you can give the control measures, safe working method for that. And you need to implement that safe working method. You need to monitor, and that safe working method should be up to date. Introducing control and formulating procedures for the hazards. This is often difficult stage. Consultation in management helps gain buy-in from workers. We need to consult with the workers because we are preparing this controlling or formulating procedures for the hazards, for the activities on which the workers are working. So we need to ask from the workers because they are better know, because they are closely work on the system. Allow concerns to be raised and addressed during development. So our mind should be open and we need to accept the concerns from every party. If we will accept the concerns, we will formulate our controls. Our controls will be quality control for controlling the hazards. So information, instruction, training, and supervision, ITTS, this is also part of safe system of work. This need many detailed training in safe system of work. We need to train every person because in safe, this is the part of the safe system of work, to train every worker and to give information for the hazards to every workers, how to control the hazards during the activities. Every worker should be informed. Then 3.8 permit work system, we will study permit work system. What is a permit? This is a formal documented safety procedures, forming part of a safe system of work. The permit is also part of a safe system of work. Example of permit work system: hard work permit, high voltage electricity system, confined space entry work permit, operation pipelines permit, excavation near buried services or complex machineries, or other type of permit, cold work permit, working at height. Many work permit we are using. So Saifur Islam, please mute your mic. Issue. When we are issuing the permit, we need to pre-check the job. Description of work to be carried out. Where we are working, we need to write on the permit the work area where we are doing the work. Description of plant and location, where the work locations, what work we are doing, and identify hazards and assess risk from that work. Then we need to identify controls. Additional permits, if we have, for example, hard work permit, isolation services permit, and PPE emergency procedure, we will also, we need to attach these things with the permits. So the issuer need to check the workplace that the hazards have been identified and the control measures have been taken. Then next, receiver or receipt, handover of permit, competent and authorized person issue permit to workers. Workers signs to say they accept control. Work can now start, plant is now under the control of workers. The receiver is the person who will receive the permit from the issuer. And the receiver should be competent and he is authorized from the safety department. The receiver may be engineer or maybe senior supervisors or maybe supervisors, but he is a competent person. And when he receives the permit from the issuer, so then he will bring that permit to the workers in he will explain the permit, and he will explain the hazards in the work, and also he will explain the control measures, and he will take that control measures. And then he will give that permit to the workers. And before starting the work, he will also give the toolbox start to the workers. The issuer is the owner of the system, and the receiver is the person who will work for the owner. The issuer, that might be client, and the receiver, he is a contractor. So both are competent person. So these both persons should be competent, and these both persons should need to check the area where the work will be done by the workers. Before start the work, they need to go to the site and check the area and implement all the control measures. And after that, they need to start work. But before, very important to put all control measure, to control all hazards, to protect all workers. Okay, so then clearance, return to service, workers signed to say they have left the workplace in safe condition, work is complete, and operations can resume. When the worker finish the work, they return the services, they clear the area, and they tell to the receiver that the work finished. Then cancellation, authorized person accept plant back and can remove isolation, etc. Cancel permit. Plant is now returned to the control of the site. So after cancellation the permit, the receiver, the issuer will go to the site. He will check the area. If he isolated some energized system, he will again, and if he de-energize the system during the work, again he will bring that system in energized situation, and the plant after that now the running positions. So after cancellation, the plant should be in the previous or in the run position, because the work finished. So there are 4 parts of the permit work system. The first one is the issuer. The issuer will issue the permit, and the other one is the receiver. The receiver will receive the permit, but the receiver will write the work, that which work we are doing. So the receiver will bring the permit to the issuer. The issuer will check, and the issuer will check the control measures that have been taken by the issuer, the receiver or not. And then the worker will work, and when they finish the work, after that they cancel the permit, and then this the system will be in normal condition. Element 3.9, emergency procedures in first aid. The need for emergency procedures. Why do we need them? Because despite all the precautions you take, things can still go wrong. Respect, because we cannot control the hazards 100%. We will give all the precautions, the safety precaution, but we cannot control in 100%. Maybe something will go wrong. So what type of accidents or emergency can be happen in the site? Fire can be happen, bomb threats, spillage of hazardous chemicals, release of toxic gases, severe weather, multiple casualty accidents, terrorist or security incident. These are the emergencies that can be happen, or these are the incidents that can be happen in the workplace. In some areas, earthquakes, for example, Japan, Indonesia, in that areas, if people are working, they need to, there may be the emergency of earthquake. So other emergencies can also be happen in the workplace. Emergency procedure arrangements. In the projects, we need the foreseeable emergencies. What type of emergency will be happen in the workplace? We need to identify that emergencies. Procedure for raising the alarm. When we identify the emergencies, then we will decide what type of alarm we will raise. For example, in oil and gas, we have different type of emergency. For hydrogen sulfide or H2S gas, we have different type of alarm. For fire, we have different type of alarm. For sulfur dioxide, we have for carbon monoxide, we have different type of alarm. For clearance, different type of alarms. So we need this alarm type for emergencies, that how during the emergency we will inform the workers. And we need to communicate this alarm to all the workers. Procedure to be followed. What type of procedures during the emergency the worker will be followed, the staff will be followed. Suitable emergency equipments. What type of emergency equipment we need? For example, stretcher. For example, other equipments. Depend upon the emergency, what type of emergency equipment we need. In some emergencies, we need the wheelchairs also. And reasonable staff, responsible staff. We need responsible staff, emergency response team. And the emergency response team should be trained on emergencies. The emergency response team should be competent. And also, in some countries, during the emergency, you will deal with the media. How you will deal the media, how you will tell them the concerns about the emergency. Contact in emergency numbers. For example, in UAE, 999 for police, 997 for fire, and 998, I think, for ambulance. So in other countries, 1122 here is for fire. And maybe in other countries, this difference. So these emergency contact numbers, we also need to communicate. And also we have emergencies number of the project. And that emergency number should be displayed in prominent places, and even on the helmet of the worker, staff, and all personnel in the projects. We need to display it. And we need to prepare signages. We need to put this emergency services number in induction training also. Then emergency procedure arrangements, what we need, organization needs to arrange communication or communication equipment, landline, mobile phone, etc. In some places, this mobile phone is not working. For that places, we need proper radio sets or walkie-talkie. Contact details, national and local numbers of the project's numbers or the national numbers for the emergency. We need to properly communicate and properly arrange in a workplace responsible individuals with necessary informations. Individuals who will be responsible during the emergencies. We need to give them the necessary information that how they will deal during the emergency. For the emergency team and for all the people, training and testing, that's very important. Additional training for nominated individuals on their roles in the emergencies. Safe handling of any equipment. Emergency procedure should be practiced through drills and exercise. This emergency procedure, when we will prepare the emergency procedure, we need to practice. We need to drills or exercise. If we will not practice or we will not exercise or we will not drill for that emergency, we cannot do during the real emergency, we cannot handle the emergency in a safe manner. So therefore, we need to train. We need to drill, to do the exercise. Requires first aid requirements then, because we need emergency procedure in the project or in the company. We also need first aid. But this first aid requirements, that's depend upon the projects, the locations where we are doing the work. Requires appropriate first aid provisions, facilities in appropriate location where first aid treatment can be given. In our project or in our company, we need a specific place that should be reachable to every worker, to every person, to vehicles, to ambulance. And we need proper equipment, suitable stock, first aid kit in other equipments. Personnel, trained personnel, because this first aid depend upon the work requirements. In some company, we need proper clinic in the workplace. In some company, we need only first aid kits. So depend upon the situation, location, and condition of the company. First aid facilities and equipment, first aid facilities, the first aid should be centrally located, accessible by emergency services during emergency. Clean and adequately heated, ventilated, and lit. Hand wash facilities, chair, clinical waste bin should be available. Then what type of equipment we need in first aid kits? Eye wash station, emergency showers, blankets, planes, resuscitation equipment, stretchers, wheelchairs, other equipment as required. Because this first aid depend upon, because in oil and gas, we need proper cleaning. In some area, we need proper hospital. Depend upon the situation, condition, and location of the projects. The first aid personnel, the basic principle of first aid is to keep the injured person alive until professional medical assistance arrives. The 3 P's preserve the life. The first aider to preserve the life of the injured person. Prevent deterioration, promote recovery. This is the principle. This is the basic work of the first aider. And to treat minor ailments that require no further medical help. Okay. First aid personnel, trained personnel, appointed person, know our basic training only. We can take this appointed personnel from the workers, from the staff. Emergency first aiders and first aiders, fully emergency first aid at work or first aid at work training. Because this is a full, this is a nurse. We hire in the projects. He know everything. And coverage will depend on the general risk level of the workplace, the hazard present in the workplace, the first aider which we are needed in the workplace depend upon the area, depend upon the risk of level. If the risk of level is more, then we need more first aiders. If the hazards are more in a workplace, then we need more first aiders. If the hazards less, we need less first aiders. For example, if we need more first aiders in oil and gas because the hazards are more. In the other side, for example, if we hire the first aider for the school or the other institutions, so there is no too much hazards compared with the oil and gas. So we need less first aiders. And then accident history of the organization. Vulnerable persons, if more, so we need more first aiders, number of workers. If number of workers more, we need more first aiders. Work patterns in shift system. If we have 24-hour duties, morning shift, evening shift, night shift, so we need more first aiders. Workplace location. For example, if we are working in a hilly area, so according to that area, we will provide the first aiders. If we will work in the remote area, and for that remote area, we will provide the first aider personnel according to that place. Size and spread of the workplace, we will also need to check the size and spread of the workplace. If the workplace is more, then we need more first aider. Or if the area is less, we need less first aiders. Okay. So when we selecting the first aider should be reliable, calm, good communication skills. The first aider need to communicate in a good manner. Then aware of own limitations and of the training. The first aider should be trained. He should be competent. Ability to absorb new knowledge and learn. Ability to cope with stressful situation. able to accept responsibility. Physically fit enough. Consideration of the need for the first aiders considering gender, ethnicity, and religious conviction. In some countries, because this happen in some countries. In some countries, the female first aider cannot give the first aid to the male. In some countries, the male cannot, because this depends the religious convictions of the country or the ethnicity. So we need to consider these things also because we are HEC personnel, we are HEC manager or HEC officers or HEC engineers. So we need to consider these things must be able to be released from normal duties to attend an incident. If you have first aider, if he is working the other duty also, so the first aider during the emergency, he need to release during the emergency. So in that way, we can manage the first aid personnel. Okay, so we will take 5-minute breaks. Again, after 5 minutes, we will start the element number 4. So students, stay with me. After 5 minutes, we will start again the remaining lecture. Okay.